Every time I talk about wages going up, I get some harsh but fair challenges that I internalize as requests for more information. So, since these headlines are talking about wages growing quickly, let's break down what's actually happening and which industries are getting paid. So, if your pay isn't keeping up with your bills, we can figure out why and try to take some action. Because if you follow, you've heard me talk about how the main ways that we measure the economy are not doing a good job of capturing the experience because they're growing more distorted by worsening inequality. For instance, the near record low unemployment isn't the same measure of consumer health as it used to be if a third of employees at the 1,000 richest companies don't earn enough to cover basic living expenses for a single adult, or if we have millions of people working full-time jobs year-round still living below the poverty line. Having a job doesn't necessarily equate to having financial health and financial success. So there are a number of ways to analyze pay and inflation, and Brookings Institute combined everything into an excellent analysis. And the main takeaways from that data are that wages have definitely grown faster in the past 5 years than the previous, but as you know, so has the cost of living. So relative to inflation, on average, hourly pay has grown 0.5% more than the cost of living over the past 5 years. That means that our hourly paycheck can purchase 0.5% more stuff, which that's progress, but at the same time, the growth has been about half of what it was in the previous 5 years. So it's a little bit better when you include salary workers and look at median weekly earnings, which means the middle point, not the average of everyone. That can be distorted by gains in higher volume, lower wage sectors, though the growth is still half of what it was in the previous 5 years. When considering total compensation, including the benefits, everything you earn, the growth is much better, about 1.4%. But again, still almost half the growth of the previous 5 years. And that total compensation includes all jobs. So as a total, things got better. So why does it feel worse? Well, one thing is simply just how quickly costs surge over the past few years. It's been hard to wrap our minds around that much change. And if costs climbed so quickly, but wages grew relatively slower relative to the cost of change, changing costs, it doesn't feel much like improvement. Also, we're looking at aggregate numbers, and things are changing a lot, so everyone's experience will be different. Overall inflation has only been about 3% over the past year, but certain costs are still surging. Some grocery prices, eggs, insurance, autos, home costs are a huge one that are not well captured and particularly bad in certain areas. So if these costs are a bigger part of your budget, you're going to feel the strain more than the average. Also, the wage gains haven't been evenly distributed. The employment cost index hasn't kept up with inflation over the past 5 years, and that measures wages, salaries, and benefits, though it holds its focus sectors constant. So it suggests that even though it seems like workers are earning more money overall, for many of the same jobs, workers' pay hasn't kept up with the pace of inflation. And the overall pay increase across the economy is then potentially driven by shifts in the amount of people working in different industries and how their wages have changed in those industries. Much of the wage gains have been dominated by lower wage workers getting bigger bumps and more hiring in those sectors like hospitality, restaurants, hotels, cleaning, trade and transportation, cashiers, drivers, and other lower wage industries like cleaning, landscaping, barbers, dry cleaning. So total compensation still hasn't caught up with the cost of living in manufacturing and higher wage industries like finance, marketing, HR, accounting, legal, engineering, tech, communications. So what this means is that while broader pay for the economy has kept up with the cost of living on average and in aggregate, it's not evenly distributed. But one thing is certain is that changing jobs and maybe even industries is the fastest way to get a raise. Wages for job changers consistently grow 30 to 100 times faster than those who stay in their job. And it's a competitive hiring market right now, so changing jobs or simply asking for a raise is the most proven way to get one.